Thank you, friend. Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. It was your Memorial Day. Hope you all got to celebrate being with family and honoring those who made the ultimate sacrifice so that we could all enjoy freedom. That kind of sacrifice is one of, if not the oldest sacrifice man has ever made, because the need to be free is inherent in his genetic code. Now, if you did not light a candle, go light one now. It's never too late to remember the fallen and to help elevate a soul. And when that rolls around, it means we're in a series of holidays that are coming up, and we're only about 2 weeks away from honoring Father, the often forgotten, sometimes unseen hero. It could also be a time of turmoil because so many fathers of prior generations had strained relationships with dear old dad, managed to carry them forward. And it's always easy enough to talk about, Father's Day, but it's a couple of weeks away. It's time for you to start thinking about it. My child arrived just the other day. Came into the world in the usual way. There were planes to catch, bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away. He was talking before I knew it. As he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue, when the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when. We'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. For some, the good time came. For others, it never did. So do not wait the 2 weeks. Call Dad now. Have a good time now. This week I'm sending greetings to Roseanne, a special pen pal, who has a wedding coming up on a very special day, and Lucy, who's been studying certain changes that take place week by week, perhaps charting them, analyzing them. And I got to see my old friend Wilson the other day, and it had been quite a while since I'd seen him. And maybe all these things are going on because we are fast approaching a new moon, and new moons always bring change and new things because they're new. Just as we will soon have another change of season, and we'll be celebrating that when the time comes in the inexorable movement of the wheel of time. Now, I also know that this is Pride Month. But you know what? You don't need a day or a month to mark it. You should be proud of yourself and everyone else every month. It's often a time of parades and gatherings, somewhat interrupted again this year. But let us now gather and share as we connect at different levels as a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, and love, any and all love, as a community, a chavura fellowship expressing our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody. Some physically, the rest digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way that you choose to, so that we can gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hinei Matov, come together. Hinei Matov, Ibatai, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei Matov, Ibatai, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. Community. Community together. Let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, this is your setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in. It's part of your Kavanah. Your intention that you put out to the universe, it's your goodwill. So let's take some time now. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. It flows through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever. that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill, focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It is for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. The tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And friends, it's not just a phrase, tikkun olam, healing the world. It's a part of why we are here. It comes from the Mishnah. It's part of the famous precept of lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, which means it's not required that you complete the work, but neither may you refrain from it. We must help heal the world. We may not complete it, but we must do our part, and each person's part simply compounds. Now, part of that healing is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds, for Lucy and Rosanna, for Adrian and Frank, for Jim, for Dave, for Mary and Matthew, for Kevin, for Anne, for Gloria, for Terry, for the Star Master, for Devorah. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, the goodwill and love we all send out. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Shabbat. Avotenu Bakor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Mishaberach, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He's healed before. Mishaberach, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now, one of the most, if not the most famous of all Shakespeare's plays, has to be Romeo and Juliet. And no part more famous than the soliloquy from Act 2, Scene 2, when Juliet says, "What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet." That is so true. Well, this week, we encountered one of the worst named and explained pieces of biblical lore. This week, we read Shelach, send. Now remember, the names to the Torah books and the Parshas were all added much later than the time the Bible was written. And this Parsha has become simply known as the episode of the spies. And when you say the word spies and think of spies, I don't know about you, but certainly a certain stereotype, always comes to mind. It's we're used to it. It's the society we live in. Numbers 13:1. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Send men. Let them scout the land of Canaan that I'm giving to the children of Israel. You shall send one man for each tribe of his fathers, every one of them a chieftain." So these scouting individuals are known as spies. And as I asked, what do you think of when you think of spies? Well, Matahari comes to mind. How about Mo Berg, the famous baseball catcher? Would you believe Maxwell Smart? Maybe John Shaft, Eric Flint, Napoleon Solo, Agent K. And of course, the ultimate spy, James Bond. Spies are brave, fearless. They can withstand torture. That's not who was sent. These people who were sent were the leaders, the chieftains, the ones in charge of this new forming nation. These people were the antithesis. Fearful leaders of a generation ruled by fear. It looks like we may still be in a fear-based generation now, which is why we celebrate Passover, the Festival of Freedom, every year, thinking about how we too can be free. Do you want to be like the wilderness generation who let fear bring them death? Or go back to who you really are, the real wilderness generation, as each of you journeys through your own wilderness, as Saul did, as David did, as Jesus did, as Mohammed did, as Buddha did. And as each of you have done in overcoming the fear and the adversity in your own life. Here was a group of people with no political structure, no laws, no spiritual practices or dogma yet to speak of. And they are being led by people who excel in only one thing: fear. The men whom Moses sends are tribal leaders, not scouts. The function of their mission is not espionage, but observation, to bring back a description of the land to their people. They are leaders who fail to lead. And that's why their negativity when they return is so devastating. It's not just a disappointing bit of intelligence. It is a complete failure to lead and encourage, and we need encouragement from our leaders. Numbers 31:17. Moses sent them to scout the land of Canaan, and he said to them, "Go up there in the Negev. You shall go up to the mountains and see the land. How is it? The people who live on it, are they strong? Weak? Are they few or many? How is the land in which they live? Is it good or bad? How are the cities in which they live? Are they in camps or in fortified places? And how is that land? Is it fat or meager? Does it have trees or not? And exert strength and take some fruit of the land." It was the days of the first grapes. Observation, analysis, planning, the things that leaders should do. It was the days of the first grapes, so it was harvest time. They were told to bring some back. Numbers 13:25. And they came back from scouting the land at the end of 40 days. They brought back word to them and all the congregation and showed them the land's fruit. They told them and said, "We came to the land where you sent us, and also it is flowing with milk and honey, and this is its fruit." They pull out this bunch of grapes that took 2 men to carry. And they tell of the giants they saw there, the descendants of the Nephilim. Nonetheless, the people who live in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified, very big. And also we saw the offspring of the giants there. Now remember, those are the legendary man-god hybrids, first mentioned in Genesis 6:1. And these huge creatures known as the Nephilim come up in a huge chain of references spread far apart through several books of the Tanakh. Their origin is explained in the beginning of the Torah in the story of the sons of God, who have relations with human women and give birth to giants. Now in this episode, the spy episode, the Israelite spies see the descendants of these giants, and later Joshua eliminates the giants from all of the land except from Philistine cities, including Gath, and later still, the Philistine giant Goliath comes from Gath and meets his demise at the hands of David. Now these widespread story references are among the many stitches that bind the Tanakh together as one continuing story, if you look at it that way. But look at what the people are told. Numbers 13:31. And the men who went up with him said, "We won't be able to go up against these people. They're stronger than we are." They brought out a report of the land that had scouted to the children of Israel, saying, "The land through which we passed to scout, it's a land that eats those who live in it. And all the people whom we saw in it were people of size, and we saw the Nephilim there, sons of giants from the Nephilim, and we were like grasshoppers in our eyes. And so we were in their eyes." Fear rules them. They go and they scout, they see a land in milk and honey, they bring back a stalk of grapes it takes 2 men to carry, but they are afraid. The giants might get them. The land will eat them. If this were Peru, I think maybe they were just out on an ayahuasca journey. This story, my friends, is about fear. Fear is the great thief. It paralyzes you and steals time, and time you don't get back. Numbers 14:2. And all the children of Israel complained at Moses and Aaron and all the congregation, said to them, "If only we had died in the land of Egypt, or in the wilderness, if only we had died." And they said each man to his brother, "Let's appoint a chief and go back to Egypt." Their fear is the only thing that rules them. And their fear brings God to the point that he tells Moses he's going to wipe them all out and start again. And Moses now has to convince God to forgive. So the gift God gave man, the great forgiveness mechanism, that we saw with Joseph and that we saw with Esau, and that we will see later on, a man, Moses, now gives to God. But God's still not happy. Numbers 14:22. I swear that all of these people who have seen my glory, my signs that I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and who've tested me 10 times now and haven't listened to my voice, won't see the land that I swore to their fathers, and all those who rejected me won't see it. The wilderness generation has demonstrated they do not deserve freedom. They're not ready for the life of free people in a land of their own. This is going to be left for their children, who grow up not knowing the experience of having been slaves. An entire generation's experience is not easily reversed. In our own age, we see the impact on the lives of survivors of the Holocaust. Some become more religious, some reject religion altogether. Some cannot speak of it, some speak of it constantly. Some return to the sites where they suffered. Some will never go back. And I've known all of those times. It affects their medical decisions, their way of raising children, their trust of other human beings, their work, their thoughts, their opinions, their memories. And their children carry tremendous loads of guilt and obligation. But they have a chance of knowing a kind of freedom that their parents cannot know. For the number of days that you scouted the land, 40 days, you shall bear your crimes a day for each year, 40 years. You shall know my frustration. A year a day, 40 days, 40 years. So this 11-day journey to the promised land will now take 40 years. Now, not all things end in defeat, because the final message we are given this week, repeated perhaps more than any other in the Bible, is the message of egalitarianism, of the reiterated formula found in Numbers 15:14. One statute for you and for the sojourner who resides, a perpetual statute for your generations, you and the sojourner alike, shall there be before the Lord. One teaching, one practice shall they be for you and for the sojourner who resides with you. It is a reminder, friends, we are all one, we are all connected, we are all the same. Yes, the world is sacred, so is everything in it. Especially gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light, and continue to shine, and continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have and enjoy the journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week. A week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe. Remember, we set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our kavana, our cause, our effect, everything's linked. Now, as I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have that knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged, and ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you could experience the peace that acceptance brings. So do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love, because it's always in front of you. And remember to have faith, an unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and of all of you. Act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace in this year, and may you nurture kindness and love everywhere. Work to be present in the body, expand the heart, quiet the mind. Because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present, to be congruent in all of life's circumstances. So make the most of your time in this life. Continue to touch and transform the lives around you because you're never alone. You are forever blessed, and you have the single ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet. Health, love, and renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Your words are your power to transform, my friends, to love, to bless. So be generous with them. Bless others and bless yourself, and love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. And please, embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief and what they mean to you. And never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel others have felt, whatever you've experienced others have too. We share together, we learn together, we help each other. We are each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives. So find them. Tell them what they mean. And remember, you're never alone on your journey to your promised land. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Continue to ask why. Continue to honor and elevate the souls and spirits of those who came before. Emulate the agents, not the failed leaders. Always look to see, where can you be doing your little bit to help heal the world? Beware of pretty faces that you find. Pretty face can hide an evil mind. Be careful what you say, or you'll give yourself away. Odds are you won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret agent man. They've given you a number, taken away your name. Well, thank you for joining me, my friends. Keep sharing the light. Practice forgiveness wherever you go. Be thankful, be gracious, be kind, be loving. Believe in yourself. Continue to spread a little goodwill into the world. And continue to be the miracle in someone's life. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.